So today I want to talk about building rapport and trust from different types of sellers. There's all different types of sellers that you need to build rapport and trust with, whether you're buying a house, whether you're buying a business, whether you're buying a car or anything else. So you build them a little bit differently depending on what you need to buy and how you're going to meet these sellers. Today I want to talk about how do you build rapport and trust when you're looking to buy some property. And particularly, especially when you're trying to buy property from cold calling people that you get a list and you never really see. So I've talked to a lot of people that do this, and they're like, man, it's very hard to build rapport because I don't see them. I just call them and I make them, ask them if they want to, get an offer on their house to sell. So how do you do this? So I have a lot of ways that I build rapport with someone, just calling them on the phone. So let me tell you what I do. First, what I do is I call them up. I'm like, hey, I see you're behind on your mortgage. I see you're, you might not have that much equity. I see that you're about to go in pre-foreclosure. And I'm like, I'm calling because I want to help you, And as soon as I let them know I want to help them, then they'll let me talk and they'll listen and they won't hang up on me. So they're like, okay, well, what can you do to help me? I'll be like, all right, I got a lot of suggestions for you to help you, because that's what I'm here to do. So the first suggestion I give them would be to see if they ever did a loan modification. If they tell me they want to stay in the house, or they, just are behind on the mortgage and they need to catch up, I'll tell them, look, go to the bank and ask for a loan modification. That will buy you some time. That will lower your payments, and they'll usually work with you, and you might be able to stay there after you get that fixed. If that doesn't work and they're like, oh, can you give me more suggestions? I'm like, yeah, of course I can give you more suggestions. My next suggestion would be I'll tell them to go borrow money from a friend or family. I'm like, look, you're a month behind, or you're 2 months behind, or you're about to be behind. Why don't you go ahead and borrow the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 from a friend or family? I'm sure you have somebody out there that will loan you money. They'll usually say like, oh, I've done that before. I did that a year ago, 2 years ago. No one's going to lend me any more money, so that's not going to work right now. Do you have any more suggestions? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. I'm here to help you. So the next suggestion I will tell them is, look, if these two don't work, go ahead and list your house with an agent. They'll try to get you topped out, or they'll give you some suggestions, and that might be the best route for you to go, so you don't get in a foreclosure situation and you lose everything. And be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, but I don't have the time because that will take a few months, and I need to do something fast. Do you have any other suggestions that something that else besides these ideas? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. I said, well, if the reason they give me is they can't list the agent is because they've listed it before and no one's liked it because it needed all this work to it, and people want to buy a house that's nicer, I'll say, look, why don't you just renovate the house and then list and sell? Right? You just told me the reason why you listed before and it didn't sell is because there was too many complaints and it didn't look good. Why don't you put some money into it? Maybe put like a few $1,000, $4,000 or $5,000. And then, you might get a $20,000 return on that few $1,000. I'll say, do that, and then that will help with what happened before with your agent. They'll be like, oh, that's a great idea. However, I don't have, that $4,000 or $5,000 to put into it. If I did, I would do that. Do you have any other suggestions, for me to keep the house? I'm like, yeah, I definitely do. The next suggestion I would tell them would be, if you can't afford the payments and you're about to go behind, why don't you just put it for rent? If you rent the house, you'll have more money coming in than going out, and that will keep the house for you. And eventually, once you get back on your feet, you can get the renters out and you can move back in. They're like, oh man, that's another great idea. I appreciate it so much, but I don't really want to become a landlord right now. Do you have any other suggestions for me? I'm like, yeah, I still have a few more. The next suggestion I will tell them is to file bankruptcy. If their goal is, look, they want to stay in the house and figure out a way to come up with the money, I'll tell them file bankruptcy. That will buy you, 4 or 5, 6 months, and maybe after you file, you'll be able to figure out a way to get some money, work it out with your bank, the mortgage, and you'll be able to stay. But that will buy you enough time to figure out more stuff. We try to do that. And a lot of times they've tried some of these things, it didn't work, or they've tried it, they exhausted it, they can't keep doing it. So they'll be like, all right, well, do you have any other suggestions? Man, you're helping me so much. At this point, I've talked to them. You know, they tell me about their dog. They tell me about their kids. They tell me about how they got into the situation. They've really opened up, and we've actually become, good friends at this point. So when they ask me for the next suggestion, this is the really thing that I really called them for, that I really want to do. I'll say, look, the next thing is you can get a cash offer from me, right? I'll give you a cash offer. You tell me you owe this much on the house. I can pay you this. You won't go in foreclosure. You'll save your credit, and you can leave with some extra money on top of it. And usually they'll get like lots of different people call for cash offers, but they just don't have that rapport, so they're not interested in talking to them yet. Now they see that I'm trying to help them. They trust me. A lot of times they'll now open up and they'll listen to my cash offer. And then even if they don't take my cash offer right now, guess what? Like when they decide they need to sell it and they have 10, 15 other people that called them, who do you think they're going to call first? Yeah, of course, they're going to call me because they trust me, because I've been trying to help them. They're like, oh, well, at this point, do you have any other things, besides this cash offer? Do you have any other ideas? Because you've been so helpful and I really appreciate your help. I'll be like, yeah, I have a few other ideas. So for instance, if they have, if I give them a cash offer, but like they might owe too much on the house, don't have enough equity, and the cash offer doesn't make sense, I'll be like, well, you know what? I can call the bank for you and see what you owe, and maybe work a short sale with your bank, and that way you'll get off the hook. You won't have this, foreclosure on your record. It won't ding your credit as bad, and you'll get it out of the house, and I'll be able to buy it for what I want, but I'll work it out with the bank so you're off the hook. And that'll be the next suggestion. They're like, oh, that's a great idea. No one's done that. And, I have a team that's really good at talking to banks and getting them to do short sales, so, we're pretty experienced in that. But if they ask for another suggestion, I'll be like, of course I got more suggestions for you. Look, I'm here to help you. I want you to do what's best for you. So, number 9, what I'll say is, I could buy your house, subject to. And buy their house subject to, it could be subject to their mortgage, it could be subject to different liens, subject to different things they owe on it. So what this will do is, if they owe too much on the house, and I can't buy it for where they have any equity and they leave with money, if they have a good mortgage and they have a good interest rate and their payments are low, I could buy it from them with a subject to, take over their payments, and then I could do a bunch of different things with it afterwards, which I'll get into in another video. But sometimes I can usually give them money even if they don't have any equity in the house. So this could be a really good idea for them. Another suggestion I would give them would be to do some sort of wrap, right? Maybe I don't do a subject to. Maybe what I do is a wrap. So what I actually do is I'll buy their house from them. They'll give me a new mortgage, keep their mortgage, and it's basically a mortgage inside the mortgage versus a wrap. And that could be another good idea that they can do, where they can actually pocket money where they don't have any equity and there's no other way to go with the house. If this doesn't, if none of these things, kind of resonate with them right away and they keep asking for more ideas, I'll keep giving them ideas. I have a lot of more ideas. So for instance, I'll give another idea. If none of this works, I'll be like, look, let me give you another idea. What I could do is partner with you on this house, right? You don't really have enough equity in it or it needs some work or something. What I'll do is I'll partner with you. And I'll partner with them, and then either if it needs like some money to renovate and fix up to sell, I'll be like, look, let's agree on a price right now, whatever that price is, and then I'll put X amount of dollars in. I want to pay you that amount plus get my dollars back that I spent on it, and then we'll split the profit. We can split it 50-50, 80-20, however we decide. But that could be another way that you could buy this house from somebody, and if you partner with them, you don't have to put any money up except for the renovation costs, and then you have time to sell it. And anyhow, that's 11 suggestions to give you right now to talk to a seller when you're trying to call. That will help them build rapport with them, and they will really trust you and like you. And before you know it, you'll start buying way more houses than anybody else. I can tell you that my close rate on buying a house from somebody when I call them is 4 or 5 times almost anybody else that does this. And the only reason why is because I build rapport and trust with the seller that nobody else does. So I hope this was helpful information for you. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.